So what's going on? Tell us your story so people understand.
Oh, well, as I wrote to you, my adult son has been immersing himself in the whole Palestinian stuff. So I had this feeling that he was going to even lean more into that. So he told me that now he's a Muslim. He doesn't really know even what that is. And I said,
Is he?
yeah, he doesn't even know what that is, really. Because I said,
Yeah, but how old is he?
27.
27. Okay.
Yeah. So
So would he want to talk to me or no?
Probably not now, because what I wanted to ask you primarily is I've been listening the last week or so with you and Avery, because I know nothing a whole lot about the Muslims, other than when I read Nabil Qureshi's book.
Yeah, Nabil Qureshi, yes. Yes.
Yeah. It was like, oh, wow. Okay. And then listening to the debates, I was like, okay, I see the same issues. Like your Bible is corrupt. I can see this the circle. We use it
Yeah.
to confirm us, but then what doesn't agree, yours is corrupt. And it's like you don't seem to have the same scrutiny with the Quran, which was in Nabil's book. He definitely had to go do that. Like same forensic test I'm going to do in the Bible, I'm going to do in the Quran. So I'm kind of wondering, when I talked to him yesterday, I said, I don't understand why you've aligned yourself with a pedophile rapist. And he goes, where'd you hear that? And I said, well, it's in the hadith. It's in the Quran, because we don't read anything but the Quran. I don't
No,
know what we is. I don't know what you're talking about.
he
But I
doesn't know
said,
much. That's why. But
he doesn't
so,
know.
but what's the religious background you guys are from?
Christian.
What a particular branch of Christianity?
Well, I was raised somewhat in the Catholic Church.
All right.
But we have, and since he has been born, it's a non-denominational, strictly Bible based.
Yes.
And yeah, no other canons or any other things. It's just strictly Bible based. And matter of fact, the church is very much they don't play with the liberal any of this, just
Yeah.
because the world says this is our great rainbows and sunshine. That's not what we teach. So he knows that. And matter of fact, as an adult, he even got baptized when he was going to youth group. I didn't even know he had done it. He told me he had done it. So I think this whole political thing and is just kind of
But if
driven
he was
that way.
grounded, if he was grounded in his faith, then he would not have become a Muslim. So going to
Right.
Bible study didn't ensure anything because he didn't know
No,
his.
no.
So
And
that
and
means
and
basically,
when I brought up that, they don't believe Jesus, was the son of God and died.
what I'm saying is it's the fault of the church. It poorly catechized him. He didn't know the basics of his faith.
No, he doesn't. I mean, I was really shocked yesterday when I said, "What are you saying?" And it,
So my question to you, all those years that he went to that church, how come the church didn't teach him what the faith was?
it's a good question. Well, he wasn't a regular attendee. I'll admit that part. He wasn't somebody that went regularly. But I mean, he did go to the youth group. He did seem to enjoy it. He went on his own. Nothing that I ever took him to
Sure.
during high school. Um, he had a car. He would go with his friends. But
Yeah.
I just like, you seem to not really understand, because when he said, well, yeah, I know they don't believe Jesus really died. Like,
The who?
where have you been? Like I
The
said,
who
where have you
died?
been? Yeah, well,
What?
he believes, yeah, died. Yeah, like,
What
well, he
died?
knew Jesus. He says, well, I know they don't believe that Jesus died.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, where have you been all this time? What? Look around you. We have
Let me
symbols.
answer Lewis. The fault is not simply sola scriptura. You didn't hear what she said. So, Lewis, maybe you're chiming in and maybe you're a troublemaker. Let me explain. She said that they went to a non denominational church, strictly Bible based, no canons, no liberal stuff. But notice, even a strictly Bible based church does a very poor job of educating people on what the core doctrines of the faith are and why you should believe it. They are terrible at catechizing. So this myth that, oh, well, Catholics, they don't follow the Bible, but we do. And yet many of the people that leave Christianity to become Muslim are from non-denominational churches, evangelicals. So what does that tell you about this slogan that you shove down the throats of Catholics and Orthodox? Yeah, only the Bible. Well, how much of the Bible did you really understand? How much of the Bible did you really apply? How much of the Bible did you really teach? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this guy here.
Hmm.
because that's the mantra. We only follow the Bible, and yet you cannot answer basic questions when it came to the Bible. Not you, not speaking to. I'm just saying here.
Yeah, I agree. But I know in my own story. I mean, I went to a Catholic school for a long, long time. I mean, I could read the mantra. I really wasn't saved until I was like 27 years old. To
Who
that,
told you you weren't saved until you're 21?
well, I didn't really understand
Yeah,
what
that's
Jesus did for me until I
exactly.
was like 27 years old. That it really came down on me of what I really needed and what he really did. It wasn't even 27 years old, even though I heard and heard and heard. It didn't
That's
really,
what I'm saying. You
yeah,
were baptized as a Catholic, but you were
yeah,
poorly catechized. But your
yeah,
son exposed to the gospel, and he
yeah,
still wasn't saved. He still became Muslim.
yeah. Or so he thinks he is. I,
No, no.
I,
Once he took the Shahada
yeah,
in front of Muslims, he's a Muslim. Now,
yeah.
does he go to mosque?
Not that I know of.
How do you know?
Does he goes? He works on Friday nights.
It doesn't matter. You can go to Friday afternoon.
Oh well. Uh.
Juma starts around 1 or 2 p.m.
Oh, okay. I don't know that for a fact. I
I
don't know.
know. You should ask, say,
Okay.
have you been to the mosque? Have you prayed in the mosque?
Okay.
Because if he's gone to the mosque, he's prayed. That's it. He's made
Okay.
himself officially a Muslim. So ask. But now the question is, since he's the one who became Muslim, not you, how can I reach him, or how do you want me to help you to help him? Because it'd be nice if he came and I can talk to him. But now, if he doesn't want to do it publicly, I can do it privately. We can
Okay.
find some way to talk. But because the only reason why I tell people come online is to record the conversation,
Yeah.
so the answers I give will help someone else who also has the same problem.
Right. What can I lead him to as far as in the Quran to have him start asking questions and maybe
I don't
search a
know.
little.
I don't think he can take it from you. You're his mom.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I don't know if you can help him, because what's going to happen now, you're going to constantly criticize his faith, and he doesn't want to hear it from you,
No.
because it's very hard for a family member to receive correction from another family member. That's what Jesus said. A prophet is without honor among his own people, among his own hometown. So I don't know if he would listen to you.
Right.
And because you're too passionate right now, you're too emotionally involved, you may be trying to shove down his throat too much information, and in so
Right.
doing, only alienate him and make him hate Christianity more.
Which is what I don't want to do, and that's why I've kept my mouth shut and said, "Let me ask Sam if
Yeah.
there's a scripture or something. I can say, hey, check this out and tell me what you know think about it, or I don't know. I just need a way to just make him
So,
or direct him to questions."
yeah, I don't know your situation is the way it is because you told him Muhammad was a pedophile, and his reaction
Yep.
was, "Who told you? It's not in the Quran."
Right.
So he's not listening, he's reacting, and he's becoming more defensive every time you criticize. So I don't
Right.
know how that's going to work. The only way I think it will help him is if he, because it seems like he's never read the Gospels. If he's read the Gospels and he's known the character of Christ, how do you go from knowing who Jesus is and how beautiful, attractive Jesus is to then following Muhammad? So he didn't know Christ. He didn't
Right.
know the character of Christ. He didn't have a
Right.
relationship with Christ.
Right.
So much for a non-denominational church that only goes with the Bible. The young man had no idea who Jesus is.
Right. Uh,
So I would say, have you really read the Gospels? Have you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Have you really meditated on the words of Christ? Have you ever really studied what Jesus said and the things he did and why he did it? Do you really know? I mean, I
that's
don't
a
know
good
what
question.
to say.
That's a good question.
Has he? Now, my question to you, you've been in that church for how long?
I've been going there for about 8 years.
8 years.
Hmm.
So even though you've gone 8 years, hearing sermons is one thing.
Right.
Meditating on the scriptures, meditating on the gospels, and learning the heart of Christ is another thing. So now that he's become a Muslim and he's going to learn how to win non-Muslims to Islam and how to prove to Christians to become Muslims, are you ready to respond to some of the challenges and issues he'll raise?
Well, that's what I've been listening to you for. Like, I don't know the Quran verse where it says, where Muhammad says, if you don't believe me, like he tries to use the Bible and the Torah as his street cred for his actual, he's valid. And then of course, then you go through that whole dilemma. But
Yep.
I didn't. Is that in the Quran or is that a hadith?
What's in the Quran or Hadith? What are you asking?
The verse where Muhammad tells people, if you don't believe me, go to the people of the
No,
book.
you're
They
talking
have the
about,
book.
yeah, chapter 1094, where it says, if you doubt the
Yeah,
revelations, ask the people that have been reading the book before you. Surely the truth
yeah,
has come to you from your Lord. Well, that's the Quran, but nonetheless, even when you tell him something, if you're not aware of the context,
right.
right? If you don't know the Quran and you're just taking verses from the Quran to convince him, he may then tell you, do you even know the Quran? Have you read the Quran? Do you understand the context? Because you're doing to him what he's doing to you. He's taking verses from the Bible out of context to prove Islam. You're taking verses from the Quran to prove Christianity. But neither him nor you know the other texts. He doesn't know the Bible. You don't know the Quran.
Correct. Correct.
So that's why I don't know how you would be able to really help him, because when you say, well, hey, isn't Muhammad a pedophile? Where's that? Well, I read it somewhere. Where? And then he stumps you and embarrasses you because you don't have the reference.
Right.
Hey, doesn't the Quran say that go to the Bible? Where? It's somewhere. See, then you're embarrassing yourself.
Right.
You
Right.
can't come up to him and present these questions to him if you don't have the facts online. You can't just say something.
Right.
Hey, well, Muhammad married a 9-year-old. Where? Where is it? Give me the chapter. What are you going to say? I'm now your son. Where?
Well, that's exactly the problem. I'm not armed. I'm not armed for this. I mean,
So you got to do your homework.
Right.
So if you want to engage him,
Yeah.
you don't bring up stuff until you go find the references, either have them available on your phone, say here, or
Okay.
print out the article, or at least write it down saying, yeah, it's in Sahih Bukhari, volume 7, number 64, let's say. Okay. That's how you have to do it. You have to bring the receipt. Say, hold on. Here, this is your hadith. What do you mean, my hadith? Here, yeah, sunnah.com. This is a Muslim website. This is Sahih Bukhari. It's not a Christian site. Can you explain this to me? So you can't just come and say it. You got to bring the facts. So either you got to have it in front of him to see, open up the website, sunnah.com. Here it is. Open up the Quran. Here it is. Now, can you explain that to me?
What does he mean by they don't use the hadith? He says, "Oh, we don't."
No, he's probably just reacting to you, because if you became a Muslim, the majority of Muslims, over 80% of those who claim to be Muslim, like over 85% are Sunni Muslims. Sunni Muslims, they don't just follow the Quran. They follow what's called the Sunnah, the life trodden out by Muhammad.
Okay.
But Muhammad's actions and his statements and his deeds, they're not found in the Quran. Only a few scanty references to Muhammad. And even in the Quran, you don't even know who that Muhammad is. So what they do is they go to what they call the hadith, hadith. These are the hadiths. In order to see what Muhammad said, what Muhammad did, what his companions said, what Muhammad's companions did. So when he says we only follow the Quran, either he's speaking out of ignorance, or because you caught him on something shameful and pitiful, his reaction was to say we only follow the Quran, because that's impossible. You can't just follow the Quran.
Okay, thank you for that, because I honestly think it's more ignorance, because he said it very sincerely. Oh, we only do this.
Who say, how do you know you only do this? Who told you?
Okay.
I would ask him, who told you? Where are you getting your information on Islam?
Okay, that's good.
And then I would gauge him, because if he follows the Quran alone, he's going to have a lot of problems when he says we only follow the Quran. Well, number one, if you just go with the Quran, see, these are the things I'd ask him. But you're learning too. You don't know much about Islam. He doesn't know much about Islam.
No.
Okay. If you just follow the Quran doesn't even situate itself in any historical period. You don't know the historical setting of the Quran because it doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you this Quran comes from this period. You don't know that. So if I ask him, say, well, when was the Quran composed? He'll say, well, let's say he says 7th century. How do you know that? Where did the Quran say 7th century? He doesn't tell you that. Now, how many chapters make up the Quran? You'd say 114. I go, how do you know that? The Quran never tells you. It's composed of 114 chapters. So this Quran between two covers that was handed to you, How do you know that what's between those two covers are the exact number of chapters and exact number of verses that make up the Quran? Because the Quran doesn't tell you how many chapters make up the Quran, how many verses make up each chapter, the historical context of the Quran, when the Quran was composed, and even the name Muhammad only appears 4 times in the Quran. How do you know who this Muhammad is?
Okay.
So these
That
are the
makes
things that ask them.
that makes sense. I thought so, according to like Nabil, and I was like, but that's what he told me, so I don't know.
Yeah. Now, Nabil, one thing about Nabil, from the traditional Islamic perspective, Nabil was not considered an Orthodox Muslim. He was a heretic.
Oh.
So let me explain to you a lot about Islam, like in Christianity. Islam, the term is, to sound intelligent, it's not monolithic, meaning there's not one branch of Islam, just like there's not one branch of Christianity.
Right.
But even when you say you're a Christian, Mormons claim to be Christians. Jehovah's Witnesses claim to be Christians. Unitarians, who say that Jesus is just a man, claim to be Christians. Non-denominational claim to be Christians. Baptists claim to be Christians. The term Christian today doesn't really mean much anymore. At the time of Christ, it would have meaning, because if you're a Christian, you belong to the same church, same people, same apostles. So when you say you're a Christian, I'd say, what kind of Christian? So I asked you, what's your background? Because you said you're Christian. All right, I don't know. Are you a Jehovah's Witness? Same thing in Islam. In Islam, there's not one variety of Islam. There are varieties of Islam. You have Sunni Muslims. They're the majority. But even in Sunni Islam, you have differences. Then you have the Shia. You want to know who the Shia are? When you hear about Iran and the Ayatollah, those are Shia Muslims. And they have differences from the Sunni. They don't even follow the same hadiths. Then you have all these aberrant groups that come out of Sunni Islam and Shia Islam, like you have the Alawis, and it's complex. Now, in the case of Nabil, he followed a sect of Islam that was started in the 19th century, 1800s. It was started by a man named Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. Now notice, 1800s.
Yeah.
Muhammad, the so-called Prophet Islam, supposedly lived in the 7th century, 600s. Mirza Ghulam Ahmed was an Indian Muslim who was debating the Christian missionaries. He first claimed to be a reformer. Then he claimed to be a prophet. Then he claimed to be the Messiah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Nabil Qureshi, that's his movement. Mirza Ghulam Ahmed said that when Muhammad said Messiah would return, he's not talking about Jesus. He said Jesus died and was buried. At the age of 120 years old, Jesus went, traveled, and died. When Muhammad said Messiah was coming, he's saying someone like the Messiah. He goes, I'm him. Well, the Muslims were in uproar, condemned him as a heretic, because in Islam, the Islam taught historically, there are no prophets, messengers after Muhammad. So when he claimed to be a prophet Messiah, blasphemy. So Nabil Qureshi was part of this movement. That's why traditional Muslims do not recognize him as a Muslim.
Oh. Okay.
So when you say he was a Muslim, the problem with that is, for us, he's a Muslim. For the Muslims, he was never a Muslim. He was a heretic. For example, would you consider Mormons to be Christians?
No.
But for a non-Christian, such as a Muslim, when a Mormon says he's a Christian, that Muslim takes him at his word. Yes, he's a Christian. Because you're a non-Muslim, you look at Nabil and you're saying, oh yeah, he's a Muslim, because you're an outsider.
Right.
But an insider says, who told you he's a Muslim? He follows a false prophet who claimed to be the Messiah, which is blasphemy, who started a sect in the 19th century who contradicts the Quran. They're not Muslims, they're fake.
Wow.
That's the part you're not told, right?
Right. I never heard that.
Exactly. And you're not going to hear it from Sheckelstein Wood, but that's beside the point. But coming back to you. So just like you don't consider Mormons to be Christians, Sunnis don't consider Ahmadiyyas, that's the name of the movement, Ahmadiyya, to be Muslims, nor do Shia.
Oh.
So Nabil would give you Sunni Islam. When you study Nabil did represent what the Quran and the Hadith taught, because the Ahmadiyya, they do follow the Quran and the Hadith, but they follow those Hadiths that they agree with. Any Hadiths that contradict them, they'll either explain away or say they are not authentic.
Which ones are the most
Authentic narrations?
Yeah.
Sahih al-Bukhari. Sahih al-Bukhari.
Bukhari.
And if you go right here, sunnah.com, this is it. This is an official Sunni website. All of their authentic collections are here for free. So here, Sahih al-Bukhari. I'm going to get you the link in private chat.
Okay.
Private chat right here. So right here, there you go.
Sunnah.com. Okay.
Yeah, I just sent it to you in private chat. So if you look at your thing, it says private chat, it's there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So what you need to do is, if you reach out to your son, if he wants to talk to me privately, it doesn't have to be public. The only reason why I bring on people publicly, so we can record it so that other people can come and listen if they have a similar problem. Let's say someone else's son or daughter becomes Muslim. They can come and watch this for the answers.
Okay.
But if he doesn't want to do it, I'll do it privately. But you got to reach out, because right now you're learning as he's learning. And every time you tell him something and he denies it, either you bring the facts and receipts.
Okay.
And then they'll say, can you go fact check this? That you can do. Say, hold on. Here is the hadith. Here's the site. Here's the reference. Look, how are you going to justify this? Well, we don't follow. Say, no, that's not true. The largest Muslim sect in the world are Sunni Muslims. They're over 85%, and they follow Sahih Bukhari. They say the most authentic collection after the Quran is Sahih Bukhari. Quran is first, Bukhari is second in terms of authenticity.
Suhan's first, Bukhari is second.
Yes. So what do you mean? No, we don't.
Okay. Well, I thought that was the oddest thing I heard, but I was like, okay, I don't know.
Get back to me. Talk to him first, and I'll send you my number. If he wants to talk privately, fine. If he wants to do it, he doesn't even have to show his face, but you let me know. But what you're going to do now, if you're going to confront him, you don't go bring up something. First, go find the evidence.
Okay.
Give him the link so he can see with his own eyes. So you can take him to sunnah.com, say, hey, look, read here. I want to know, let's say I want to be a Muslim. How am I going to follow this man who's 54 years old and married, a 9-year-old who's playing with dolls, who then left her a widow at 18 and she could never remarry again? And you want me to follow him? That's what you do.
Well, I appreciate this, Sam, for your time.
I'll give you more time.
Continue listening. I learned so much.
Yeah, well, keep praying for me. I finish the race and the Lord purifies. But I'll give you more time to help you to see how we can bring him back. But nothing like a praying mom. Pray.
I pray every day for him, for discernment.
You got it. So let me know.
I will. Thanks, Sam.
God bless you. Lord be with you.